today, Cooking with Marjorie, we are going to do a lamb tagine. It's one of my favourite things. And so we start off with, I've got a kilo of lamb. It can be stewing lamb, shoulder of lamb, leg of lamb. I got mine from my butcher. And what I tend to do before I start is just to get some paper towel and just take off some of the moisture that you'll inevitably have on your lamb. Because when I'm going to brown it, and it just needs to be relatively dry when you brown it. Right, so that's a kilo of the lamb. There we are. And then we're going to have 2 medium-sized onions, a tin of chopped tomatoes, a tin of chickpeas. You can obviously soak your chickpeas overnight and all that palaver, but frankly it's really not that expensive to go and get the tins of things like chickpeas. They're so much easier to use. I've got some turmeric and some cumin, just a teaspoonful of each, and I've got some vegetable stock here. I haven't made my own vegetable stock, I've used this Swiss vegetable wheel. Cinnamon sticks and some chilli, some pepper. Is that everything? Yeah, olive oil, a bit of olive oil, and some dried apricots, which I add at the end. Now, what we need to do is brown the lamb and get the onion going. So what I'm going to start off by doing is browning the lamb, get that going, because you need to do that in batches. You can't brown your lamb with too much in your pan at once. So I tend to use 2 pans. So I'll be using a nice big frying pan, which I've got back here. So I'm going to get that on. There we go, nice and hot. And I have actually got a couple of tablespoons of olive oil already in there waiting. And then I'm going to gently saute my onion and garlic in my casserole pan. So I'll get that going in a minute as well. And then I'm going to put the oven on. I'll get my glasses out because I've got my recipe here, which is from a school recipe book from my kids' old school. And does it say what time, how much to put the oven on? Well, it might, but anyway, I can't see it. Cover and simmer for 1 hour. Right, they do theirs on the top. But you know what I'm like, I like doing things in my oven. So I'm going to turn my oven on to 160. There we go, 160, 170, depends on your oven. It needs to just slowly cook away for about an hour. Then I'm going to add some more stuff to it, and then it cooks for another hour. Right, so let's start off with my lamb. Right. I love this spoon. It's just so useful. I kind of use it as a spatula and all sorts, but because of the holes it then drains off fat. So let's just see if my olive oil has got hot enough. I'm just going to put one bit of lamb in, and if it sizzles. Yep, it's good noise. So I'm now going to add a few to the pan. There we go. And what you want is for your lamb just to get some nice colour on it. I like to wash my hands in between. I'm wearing an apron today, which I often don't do because I'm a lazy cook, but when you're browning your meat, it does spit quite a lot, so you really do need something to protect your clothes. I'm putting another couple of tablespoons of olive oil into my casserole dish. Right, so we'll now get the onions chopped. Here we are. I can hear that lamb is really sizzling away, which is great. There's something about a tagine. You can have it in the winter, it's really comforting. You can have it in the summer and it feels sort of Mediterranean and refreshing. Well, not refreshing, that's the wrong word. It's just a great all-round dish. You can obviously make it with chicken or all sorts of different recipes, but this is one of my favourites. I love casseroles of lamb. I think they're very forgiving, much more forgiving than beef. I can hear it's sizzling away, and we don't want it to cook, we just want it to brown. So I've got another of my little dishes. Over. The other good thing about a tagine is it's not too spicy. You can make it as spicy or not as you feel like it. It's much more about flavour and just interesting tastes. Unlike a curry, sorry, I really need a glass of wine. Oh. Unlike a curry, which is that much more spicy, and so some people might not like it. The tagine is more mellow and it's delicious. Right, I'm just going to chop up my onion, and I'm doing this very roughly. It really doesn't need to be mega. It doesn't need to be small or anything very. It's just chopped. Oh, nearly got my finger there. I need to chop it properly. I'm not concentrating. Here we go. I need my assistant. He's not here. Right. Okay. So I've got my onion chopped, and I'm just going to add that to my casserole dish, which by now is warm enough, hot enough to begin with sautéing the onions. There we go. All right. Okay. So my first batch of lamb is nearly done. I will put it in the bowl. And then we'll get the next lot in. This is a big fried lamb. Which I absolutely love. It's just brilliant one. And I've got a kilo of meat, and I'm going to be doing this in 3 batches. So it's really not going to take that long. And when you read in recipe books of browning meat, literally you're just getting, I don't know if you can see, but you're just getting some colour onto the meat on both sides quickly. It just seems to add flavour, which is what you're after. Right, and then I'm just going to add a couple of cloves of garlic, which again I'm just going to chop. So let's get those ready. The other lovely thing about a tagine is, particularly if you're having friends around, you can do it the night before, and in fact it's much nicer if you cook it the day before you want to eat it. I have no idea why that is, but it definitely is much, much nicer if it can be cooked the day before. I think all the flavours just kind of amalgamate properly, and the meat gets really lovely and tender. So if you're having a lot of people around on a Saturday night, you can get this done Friday night or even a few days before, or obviously you can have it in the freezer. And then you just reheat it gently for about half an hour. And then you serve it. I like to serve my tagine with couscous, which is just the sausage, so I'll show you that in a minute. Right. Some steps on honey glasses of wine. Sips of wine over now with this. Keep an eye on your onions. They do need the odd stir. Don't add your garlic until your onions are ready. I don't know why that is, but I've always been told that. leave it for a few more minutes, but not much. Hardly any of it. Just needed another tiny, tiny bit. And we'll get it out. There's no science in this. And as long as you don't overcrowd your pan will stay lovely and hot and will fry your meat quickly. Great. Now, in a minute, I need to read the instructions. I think I'm going to add my herbs, my spices rather. So here we are, fried onion and garlic until soft. Add the cinnamon, the turmeric, black pepper and garlic and onion, and the stock, tomatoes and chilli, sprinkle of oil. Right, okay. So, I like to put my herbs ready, my spices ready. I've got a little thing here. And I've got a teaspoon of turmeric, and I've got a cinnamon stick, which is lovely, and a teaspoon of cumin. So we're going to add that in a moment. So put them all together, and then you don't forget me. I'm going to add my garlic to the onion now, and some black pepper is also needed. And I'm a bit short. I've added some salt, and I'm going to add some black pepper. Well, I haven't got my pepper grinder. It's one of the things I have requested for a birthday present. Here we go, right, I'm going to add some black pepper in, which I've just ground up in my spice grinder. Okay, that meat sounds like it's doing well. Let's just get that finished. Oh, the smell is wafting up from the garlic and the onion. It's absolutely yummy. Okay, so, and the meat is nearly done. So I'm going to add these spices to my onion and garlic. It's nice for it to just to get a little bit of heat before you add the liquid to it. So you literally just add it all in, give it a stir, and I'll put the ingredients properly on the YouTube information bit. So I know I'm not very good at doing. Okay. And now the meat is now brown from my last batch, so I'm just going to get that out of the frying pan. And now you've got some really yummy bits on the bottom of your frying pan, and I think it's quite important to deglaze. So I'm just using vegetable stock today. I'm not using any alcohol, but obviously you could use some alcohol. Just add a little bit of vegetable stock. And it whooshes up like that, and then all the goodness from the bottom of the pan, all the tasty bits, get amalgamated into the liquid, which is just great. And then we pour that into the onions. It also serves a dual purpose of helping clean the bottom of your frying pan, which is great. Okay, so now I'm going to add the rest of my vegetable stock. Actually, I don't think I will. I think the recipe says to do that, but I'm going to add my meat next to the onions. There we go. And then I'm going to add a tin of chopped tomatoes. And then I'm just going to... This needs to be turned on. Right. And another trick is to get all the goodness out of the bottom of your tins of tomatoes, just add your vegetable stock into the tin, whoosh it round, and that essentially cleans out your tin, which is great. And what I'm going to do with this vegetable stock is I'm just going to use enough to cover the meat. Okay. So I started off, oh yeah, lovely. I started off with 500 millilitres of vegetable stock. I haven't quite used it all, so definitely just cover the meat so that it's, rather than swamping it in liquid. That just needs a stir. It comes up to simmering point, and then I'm going to put it in the oven for an hour. Right, so let's just get it stirred around. Ooh, such beautiful colours. I will for once take a photo of it and show you. So we then put it in the oven, and then after an hour you get it out of the oven and you add your dried apricots. Okay, glasses, you can never find them. Okay, dried apricots, 3 ounces. Well, I really love dried apricots. So I'm going to add a handful of it. There we go. Very, very precise. How many is in here? 200 grams are in here, and it's going to just have 75 grams. So it is entirely up to you. I love dried apricots in my tagine, and in fact I also like them in my couscous. So I might put some into the tagine and some into my couscous, because they have very different properties. They taste completely different, because in the tagine they absorb the juice and flavour from the meat and the sauce, and in the couscous they tend to just retain their bite much more. Now I'm going to just chop my apricots. So I've got a dried apricot like this. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut it across into 2 or 3. And I can never resist them. That's the problem. You can make these, yeah, some of these maybe I'll do a bit bigger, just doing half into quarters. It's up to you. Some people don't even like apricots, so don't add them. It's a really flexible dish. You've got the basics now. You've got your tagine. It's all delicious. And it's up to you what you do with the rest of it. Now for your couscous, it's so easy. I hope everyone's made couscous. Couscous, the basics are, if I get it out of my, this is when I find I don't have any. That's in here. Okay, inevitably, I haven't got me. Okay, but essentially with couscous, and I will find some and do it properly, is you have, read the packet, but you don't need very much, and you add boiling water to it, you stir it, and then you leave it, and it fluffs up, and that's it. You can have it cold, hot, whatever. You can add a bit of butter into it, and then add loads of herbs. I love to have coriander, parsley, all sorts of yummy herbs. You could add some spring onions, whatever takes your fancy, a few dried apricots, and then you've got your tagine and your couscous, and it's just yummy. So give it a go. I would highly recommend a tagine, but cook it the day before, because it does take 2 hours of cooking. So it takes a while, particularly if you're working like I am. So I'm going to get it all done. We're going to have our own supper while it's cooking away slowly, and tomorrow we'll be able to enjoy it. Okay, have fun.